Well, again, none of it was intentional. There was never any plan or any goal behind this, and I think that it is sort of a testament to how the free market works. That you can approach the market in two particular ways: is you can deliver something of value, and people will talk about you, or you can advertise that you're delivering something of value and try to convince people to buy from you.
Hmm.
We've never spent a penny in advertising because it was never really, in the beginning, it was never really a goal to get there. It was, this is available, and if you want it and it works for you, that's great. All the growth is word of mouth, all of it, because we've never once advertised. It was all word of mouth. So my thinking is, if you want it to, in a true free market, there would be no advertising. And it would just, you'd have to compete purely on the value you delivered. And whoever won that competition clearly must be delivering the best value or have the best product. I find that once you start advertising, it's a form of persuasion, which is what advertising is. I must persuade you to buy. It is, I think, far better to have the person at their employment sitting beside them persuading them to use us than us persuading them to use them. Now, if we advertise, here's the the kind of ironic thing about advertising is, in our space, most of the providers are very friendly. I have great relationships with most of the other providers. There are a couple who they don't get along with anybody because they feel that competition means they have to put down other people.
Okay.
They don't understand collaboration. It's all competition. But in speaking with some of them, I know what their customer acquisition costs are. This is how much they advertise. The number of people they get divided by how much they earn. Their advertising divided by how many people they have. When you have customer acquisition costs of $250, your price has to start at $250. You have to charge people and make them pay for the very advertising that you spent to get them to pay. Why not just take the advertising out of the picture, be the best that you can be, and then you don't have to charge them that customer acquisition cost?
I think the majority of businesses, though, would tell you that paying for advertising is a necessity to them, for them to be able to drive sales, and you're able to have tons of customers without doing that, mostly because of the social media reach and the quality of what you're doing.
Well, I would, I think if you go back to the early 90s, my business would not have been possible. So the idea of having a YouTube, of having an online forum where people can talk and people from all over the world can share ideas and speak with each other, makes businesses like mine possible, which is why in the last 20 years you've had an explosion of entrepreneurship and businesses, because technology always makes that kind of stuff more and more accessible.
Yeah.
In 10 years, I might be displaced by somebody coming in with virtual reality and being able to do a lot more in a virtual reality space than me, because I'm so stuck in my digital world that I'm not moving to the 3D world or the metaverse, for instance. Well, until everybody has the equipment, VR is not going to be a thing. But I think there's some interest there. In 10 years, who knows? Maybe you'll just put a VR headset on, and there I will be at the front of a class, just as I am right now.
Okay.
So it's 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I probably would have had to advertise. Today, if you understand how people communicate, I don't think you have to advertise. I think you just have to be very good at what you do, to the point where people say, you got to check this out. And that's always been our mantra, is to deliver overwhelming value. So even if we charged $5,000, which we never will, as long as we're delivering $10,000 worth of value, we're still living our philosophy, which is to deliver overwhelming value. And we'll continue to do that.
Well, it's an interesting proposition amongst providing education for CFA exams, because of the people who become CFA charter holders, I would imagine every single one of them would state that the value of their charter to them is more than $10,000. And then those who don't end up passing the exams, obviously it's not. So it would be difficult, I think, to try to come right in line to a estimated average value that each candidate perceives the charter as having, but you're definitely on the cheap end compared to the competition.
Well, the accessible end. I don't like the word.
Yes, sorry.
I like the word accessible because I don't consider our price to be cheap. I consider it to be accessible, which is democratic.
Okay.
Meaning that your access to quality education is not dictated by the size of your wallet, but dictated by the size of your appetite for knowledge. That's more important. Give me people like that. But if you have a certain price, you become elitist, meaning that only people who have the ability to afford that can actually gain access to that kind of teaching.
Yeah.
That's not what teachers go into teaching for. Again, it is a form of public service. And I don't know why moving from a university into private practice, a lot of academics or a lot of teachers forget about that you're not leaving public service. You're just now enriching yourself beyond the value that you're delivering. And we have in this space, there are a few that, in my opinion, charge a lot more than the value they deliver.